Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Well, it has been quite an extraordinary game this afternoon. We're just past 4:05 here in the UK. We have just overseen a quite sensational game at Ellen Road that finished Leeds 2, Manchester United 4. Quite an extraordinary game today. I'm joined by Andrew, Bainsey and Marcus to really kind of unfangle and kind of untangle all the stuff that has been going on today, because it was quite a sensational game. If you're following us on YouTube, please like and subscribe for All for United content. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, but if you want us to read out your comments, please come over to YouTube and give us your points of view. But fellas, a massive 3 points today. Andrew, I'm going to come to you first of all. Just give us your emotions after the game, because it was quite a big result in a game that we simply had to win today.
I was going to say, as I said before we came on, United never make it easy. I wish we would have an easy game, but United like to do it the hard way. So it was always going to be a battle against Leeds. I mean, us United fans and their fans have been waiting so long for that game at Ellen Road. It'd been, I think, was it 18 years? Because last season there was obviously no crowd, so it wasn't exactly the same. Obviously, the weather conditions just added to the game. Obviously, early on we had to withstand some pressure from them and the home crowd as well, but we stood up physically to them, and we probably should have gone ahead when Ronaldo, I thought he's just going to tap it in, but Melier saved it. And I mean, Pogba was like a brilliant cross from him into Ronaldo. Was saying it was a test of character from United today, and which we've not always shown it in other games. I mean, he was passing it really well in the first half. I mean that the corner, I was surprised when we scored. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I thought the 140th corner is a charm for us. And then Leeds just did what they usually do, is plan A. They just came out and fully attacked it again, and which helped us. And then that second goal, I mean, Lindelof, he just put the ball, come with the ball out of the defence, and then it just, Leeds' defensive shape just went all over the place. They didn't know what to do with him. It was like, well, do we tackle him? What do we do? And then just the layoff to Sancho and that delicate cross, and Fernandes just said, thank you very much, and 2-0. The second half, I thought, well, Leeds are just going to, come out like every other team that has against us. And then it was like, I mean, their goal they scored, the first one was like, well, you could say a bit of luck. And I know De Gea will be annoyed because he was just like, maybe he should have got hands with it, who knows, but he probably could catch any goalkeeper out. And then I think because then we conceded the first, it just reminded me of the game we had away against Villa. It was just like, it just brought the home crowd on, and then it just got the players up even more. And then the second goal was like, I was just quietly seething inside. I was thinking, why have you thrown this away again? I was thinking, are we just going to we're in control and then throw away 3 points, or just have a point out of it? But then Ralph Ragnick made the change, Pogba for Fred, and then it was like, yeah, Fred came to our rescue, and then it was good to see Alanga then just finished the game off for us. I think he looked bright when he came on as well. So an important 3 points going into this week as well, with the game against away at Madrid in the Champions League, that confidence. And obviously we got Watford in the league game next Saturday. So these next 2 games in the month ahead are going to be big for United in terms of landing a spot in the top 4.
Yeah, completely agree. It was absolutely imperative United won today, because obviously we saw yesterday Spurs sensationally winning at the Etihad 3-2. We also saw Arsenal win at home to Brentford. Wolves are playing Leicester a little bit later on. The battle for the top 4 really is intensifying. We were helped a little bit with West Ham dropping points at home to Newcastle yesterday. Marcus, I'm going to come to you next, because, at 2-0 up at half-time, I personally thought Manchester United were really comfortable. I didn't really think Leeds were at the races in the first half. The conditions, I thought United played them to an absolute tee. But within the space of 59 seconds at the start of the second half, you went from absolute delight and so much comfortability to it being 2-2, and Leeds getting really up for it, the fans really getting behind the team. How on earth did United turn that game around?
Yeah, I have no clue. I mean, the fact that Pastor Fred scored on a Sunday, is just, what are the odds of that happening? But yeah, it was a crazy game. And, I must put my hands up and say fair play to United, because I was pleasantly surprised. As soon as it was 2-2, I was like, oh, here we go again. This is why I've emotionally disassociated this season. And then somehow we managed to get the result. And I think the change, Pogba for Fred, that was a bold change by Rangnick. You know, he's come under a lot of stick lately for picking certain players, not really having a bit of backbone and imposing his personality in his team selections and some of his substitutions. I think taking off Paul Pogba was a brave decision, because I thought he was one of our better players. And the fact that it worked out, you know, like, fair play to Rolf. And I think it was a stroke of genius, I suppose, from him. And the fact that Bruno was able to get that second assist, just beautiful. Because I think Bruno, one of the things I hear most commonly from people who don't like Bruno Fernandes is, you know, stats don't matter, you know, stats aren't important, stats on this, stats on that. Look, I completely understand that stats can be misinterpreted, and that's not my argument here. I completely get that. But people pretend like goals and assists don't win games. You know, people pretend like chances created don't directly contribute to your team potentially finishing higher up the table. And so for me, yeah, Bruno Fernandes is not that great technically. He has a lot to improve in terms of his passing and holding the ball. But the trade-off is he gets us goals and assists. The trade-off is he gets us something that a lot of players haven't been able to get us. So I'm willing to take that, you know, personally. And that's why I love Bruno Fernandes, because of the moments he was able to create today. Not just the header that he scored, but the assist he got on the last goal was just, it was impeccable, you know. And I think he gets way too much stick. You know, he gets way too much stick. A lot of players at Manchester United do have the technical ability, but they don't have the application. Some of them have the application, but they don't have the ability. I think Bruno's somewhere in between. You know, I think he's somewhere in between. I love his attitude. Yes, he moans a lot. Yes, he's on the ground a lot of the times. Yes, he's not perfect, but, you know, I think he's one of the few players ever since he's arrived who I still, you know, feel firmly believes. I believe in him a lot, and I love the fact that he plays for Manchester United. So, yeah, great performance. I don't know how we were able to pull off that comeback, man.
Yeah, I mean, Fernandes, I thought was really good, especially in the second half. You know, I know he played the great ball for Elanga to get the fourth goal to seal the game, but his header for the second goal, right on the stroke of halftime, I thought going in 2-0, absolutely important to get that lead at halftime. We've got some comments. Jarvis says, "Evening, lads. What a win. Love the attitude and courage. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, but today the talent worked hard." Bainesy, great to see you, my man. You were at the pub watching the game just literally about 60 seconds from your abode. You must be absolutely on top of the world today, man.
Yeah, I'm buzzing. Honestly, I'm buzzing. It's just that game. I've loved it. That ever since Leeds has been in the Premier League, I've just loved this fixture. I don't know what it is. We've ended up scoring, what is it now, 15 goals in 4 games against Leeds. So yeah, I mean, we're certainly for some reason we all just turn up against them. Obviously there was a 0-0 last year. We'll forget about that one. But
that's true.
well, there's a few players for me that stood out, and I think they are undroppable. And when I mean undroppable, they have to stay fit, play regular football week in, week out, no matter what competition. And for me, that's Sancho, Pogba, McTominay. And I would argue with people in the comments, but because they probably won't agree, my next one is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, for some reason, McTominay is just brilliant in this fixture. He's always done it. And there's always plenty of fixtures in the season where he had it against Burnley, where he will just dominate the midfield. He'll get stuck in. Mm-hmm. I think it was I missed the first minute of the game, but someone told me that he should have got yellow carded because he's gone flying into this tackle in the first sort of few minutes. He's lucky to get away with it. And that a player doing that in your team instantly sets the precedent going forward in the rest of the 90 minutes. Is okay, we're ready for war here. We're ready to battle, and that's what I thought McTominay did today. Pogba once again absolutely unplayable. Leeds could not stop him today. He flicks and tricks, getting past people, quality passes, and then obviously Bruno does what Bruno's always been doing for the past couple of years now. So it's great to see also those players linking up, but then more importantly now we're starting to see why we bought Jadon Sancho. 2 assists today. It was effortless. He was going past players. Defensively, he was tracking and working and helping the team. And more importantly, I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka, just quickly on that one, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he was brilliant. I think he was brought in for Dan James and Rafinha. Well, Rafinha didn't start, but I think the reason why Aaron Wan-Bissaka was there was because of Dan James. He's always dangerous, and obviously we saw in the 20 seconds or however many seconds it was when we conceded those 2 goals, how important Dan James can be to teams and how much of a threat he is. So yeah, absolutely delighted. I was surrounded by loads of Liverpool and Chelsea and Arsenal fans, so I was giving them so much stick. But yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was a really good result. Enjoyed that one.
I think this comment that's just come on the comments here is absolutely fantastic. From James of Flatbush, he says, "Holy crap, we won!" And I think that absolutely sums up my feelings, and I'm sure so many people watching this and everybody here in the comments as well, because it was just quite an extraordinary game. John, great to have you on the chat, my good man. A late arrival, but great to have you on nevertheless. Just sum up your own emotions on the game, because the guys have had their say. You have to say, Leeds scored their 2 goals, certainly the first one, out of absolutely nothing. It was a massive fluke, in my opinion, from Rodrigo. I think it was a cross. There was no way that that should have gone in the net. We could maybe come on to talk about De Gea's positioning in a while. But the second goal, to make it 2-2, you just think, oh my days, we've done ourselves so well in the game. We've controlled the game. We've managed the conditions well. The game goes 2-2, and suddenly you think, that's just a balloon that's burst. But how on earth did United turn that around for you?
Yeah, apologies for being late. I did have a friend round who left after a couple of minutes, so I need to say goodbye to him. So
no worries at all
for being late. Yeah, I thought it was we were brilliant today. Actually, I thought it couldn't have gone much better. I think the game plan did work. I think the first half an hour was crucial to not let them score, and we scored from the corner unbelievably, and then we went 2-0 up, and then like you say, the 2 goals came out of nowhere. It was a fluke. You can question De Gea for that, positioning and not collecting it. And the second one, I know it was a bit dubious. I don't know what others thought, but I thought it might have been a foul because he came through Fernandez, my view, to reach the ball, but regardless of that,
it was one of those 50-50 challenges, wasn't it? Whereby on another day that could be deemed as a foul. I personally thought it was okay, to be honest with you. I kind of agreed with Gary Neville, but I absolutely see your point.
Yeah, I think, like you say, some go your way, some don't. But then it's like we're in the position then where you're 2-2, and we were, of course, 2-0 up at Villa a few weeks ago, and it's like under that. Because Ellen Rowe was proper bouncing then, the Leeds fans, and we could have quite easily capitulated, and probably a few weeks ago we would have done. And I thought after that we were brilliant. I do actually think we controlled the game to some degree, and we looked threatening. We continued to do what we, where we've criticised the team in recent weeks was we didn't continue our game when teams drew level, but we did. We thought, right, just keep doing what we were doing in the first half, and we created chances. Then he made the changes with Pogba and Fred, which was probably a bold move, a very bold move. I personally thought Pogba was possibly our best player up until that point. I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit of a gamble. I thought it would have been McTominay who came off, but then. But then it proved that Fred effectively got the match winner, the 3rd goal, and basically he was brilliant when he came on, and we stuck to the task. And Bruno, after the changes, also came into his own, I thought, because he did brilliant for the 3rd goal when he passed it to Ronaldo, and Ronaldo laid off. I think it was to Fred and Sancho, and then back to Fred. And I think it couldn't have gone more perfectly today, because we showed character in a very difficult atmosphere when it was 2-2. Maguire got the goal. We've broken the duck on the corner, and Elanga, he came on. He had the coin thrown at him. He missed that chance to make it 4-2 just after the 3rd goal, but then he sucked his goal way beautifully. So, overall, I don't think you could have asked for a better performance. Really.
You mentioned such an interesting point about the coin throwing, or what looked like suspected coin throwing. I just want to say, from everybody here on All For You Now, we do not condone anything that happened in that. So we don't know obviously what happened there, but it was absolutely disgusting and just not acceptable at all. And we hope the idiot or idiots that did that have been found out quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And but for him personally to show that character to come back and go again. Again, I'm very pleased. And finally, we've actually learned to take our chances in this game as well. Where we've been creating so many chances this game, and we've been scoring 1 goal or 2 goals. We had 4 today, and I actually had a feeling that if we got it right, we could do it today, and we did. So it was very pleasing.
We've got some really excellent comments. Ben Pierce says, get in there, United. Jarvis Cocker says, with you, Bates, he says, Sancho, Pogba, Lindelof, Bruno, Ramsaka, McTominay were great. Fred also had a great sub. Rest of the team put in a shift. Overall, very happy with the performance. Tony Square, nice to see you on here. Sancho is showing now exactly what he could do. He just needs time to settle in. I want to talk about us finally breaking the corner kick jinx. As you said there, Andrew, at the 140th attempt, United finally netted from a corner kick. We did actually score one, of course, at Burnley, but it was chalked off by VAR. But express your emotions when Maguire put that in the back of the net, because, Maguire has had a lot of stick this season. Myself has given him some stick. There's so many of us in this chat and so many others that think Maguire's had a poor season. How big a goal could this be for his own confidence going into the latter stages of the season?
It could be really big for Maguire. I just couldn't believe it when we scored from a corner. I was thinking, yeah, that's definitely gone in, hasn't it? And I mean, at the game against Brighton, when we was having corners, the crowd started chanting, "We rarely score from corners," and it was like people were like, saw on social media criticising why you chanting that. It was just tongue in cheek. It was like, we haven't scored from any corners this season until today. It was like the 140th of time of asking was the charm. So a brilliant cross by Luke Shaw. But for Maguire personally, it's literally, I don't think he did celebrate the goal. He literally just got back and then thought, we've got to go again. So I just think
he had that bit of steel about him today, didn't he? He was like, I'm not going to show any emotion. I am so driven to win this game today. And fair play to him. Fair play to him.
Yeah, and as well alongside Lindelof, they just seem to be, the great pair today. I say, obviously, second half. Well, I don't know whether any defensive work could have been done better, in the second goal that Leeds scored. But I'll have to look back on that. But it was just the one hoodoo that United needed to get rid of the corner kicks, and I'm glad Leeds. I think, as they're saying in the commentary, Leeds give you that opportunity, and thank God they did, because I just thought if Leeds score first, then how would United react to that? Because in front of the Leeds crowd as well. So from Maguire going forward, I think I hope he can just build up his form, because since the Euros last summer, it's like for Maguire, it's just been up and down. He's had some good games, and then some other games you're just like questioning what's he doing. But I just think you just got to have somebody. It's whether who his partner is going to be alongside him. Is he going to be Lindelof or Varane? You just think he needs somebody that's going to be constantly a constant partner with him. So I don't know.
He looks so much better with Lindelof. It's weird. He just looks so much more comfortable, and I don't know whether that's because Varane is not suited or adjusted to the Premier League yet. But when Maguire's with Lindelof, he does put in much better performances. Now, that I don't know whether because they've obviously had that partnership and he knows exactly how Lindelof plays, and then Varane will slowly sort of be bedded in. I agree with you, with Andrew, 100%. He had a monster game today, absolute monster game.
See, I don't know whether they could play because I saw it when we did Tottenham away. Lindelof and Maguire, and it was Varane as well, and they seem to work well together. I don't know whether they could play as a three, but it all depends on the team we're playing. But when I've seen Varane and Lindelof, I think they had a couple of games together, and then I can't remember, was it Varane or I think Lindelof got injured, and then Maguire had to come back in. So I'm just interested to see how Varane and Lindelof do together, but we need that consistent centre back partnership, whether it's a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
We have some comments from Harry Maguire speaking to Sky Sports. We needed to start the second half better for sure. They came out right on top of us. Their first goal was really lucky and it got them right back in it. And then they scored a good goal. We had to fight back and stick together. We knew it was a tough place to come, but we knew we had the qualities that could hurt them. We said at halftime we needed to score more in the second half and we managed to do that. He says, I'm embarrassed by the stat at nearly 140 corners without a goal. I'm a big part of that set play routine, but as a team, we've been nowhere near good enough. If we scored more from set pieces, we'd be higher up the table. Marcus, do you agree with Maguire's comments on that?
100%. 100%. The thing about Harry Maguire is, I think the first season when he played alongside Lindelof, we actually improved the amount of clean sheets we got. That first season under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the first full season, not when he was interim, we had more clean sheets than the season prior. So there was a brief improvement when Maguire and Lindelof were playing together. And even recently, I have noticed that Maguire is better with Lindelof. I think it's because they have a good understanding of how they want to defend together. On top of that, when you look at the way Leeds play, I mean, it's pretty predictable. I'm not discrediting Maguire's performance. I'm just saying that he will know better than anyone in that locker room how Leeds play. And, you know, it's just a lot easier when you're in familiar territory, especially with someone next to you who's been playing for you for about 3 years. When it comes to Varane, I think Varane has been very good for Manchester United. But again, I don't think him and Maguire complement each other because Varane loves to wander off. Varane loves to play a lot higher up the pitch. He likes to, you know, be in a lot of positions where he's going to get caught out of position and he's going to need whoever's playing next to him to cover for him because he's just that type of defender. And I think when it's Lindelof and Maguire, they both understand their limitations. So they're a lot more reserved. They're a lot more disciplined. They tend to stick together a lot. You know, when Lindelof and Maguire play a lot, I don't know about you guys, but I noticed that there's very rare situations where we get caught on a 3-on-2 or 2-on-1. But when Maguire and Varane play, there's a lot of times where either Varane is alone and he's isolated, or Maguire's alone, or they're both not there and Shaw's just trying to run across, you know, trying to pull off a miracle save, you know, and that just comes down to chemistry, you know, at the end of the day. But yeah. Maguire's absolutely spot on. We do need to score from more set pieces, and long may continue. You know, I don't want Maguire to fail. I think a lot of people, when you criticize Maguire, are like, you know, they'll use today as a chance to go at you like, ha, see, Maguire scored. It's like, good. I want him to score. I want him to play well because that means Manchester United are winning games. You know, I don't criticize him because I hate him. I criticize him because I just think that if he was a little bit better along with the rest of the team, we would do better as a team, and that's all I want. You know.
We have some interesting comments coming in. Jarvis Cocker says, Maguire is not acquitted after one decent game. He's still a liability because of his lack of pace. Ronan, nice to see you. He says, Varane is our best defender. The other two can fight it out. And he says it has to be Varane and Lindelof. Bainsy, Lindelof, I thought today was outstanding. And his movement in the second goal really played a big part. It was a really good header by Bruno Fernandes, but his movement, his bravery to sort of continue his run coming out from the back was exquisite, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. And we've got to go back to his previous games as well. I'm talking about Lindelof because I can't remember if it was Bruno's second or third goal when he scored the hat-trick against Leeds in the first game of the season. It was Lindelof's pass. So he's absolutely fantastic. We know he's a good defender, and I said this last season. I said Maguire, if you look at him as one defender, is a good defender, and so is Lindelof. If you look at them as just two different centre backs, they are good centre backs, but I question them as a pair. Now, obviously, this season is slightly different because we've had Varane in, and I do agree with some of the comments that Varane is talent-wise, he is our best defender, but I think he's still getting acquitted to the Premier League. So. We have to be very careful on how we play them and how we rotate them. I know Varane got an injury as well, which he needs to be nurtured into the role, especially with how the intensity of the game, especially how Leeds play. They just front foot all the time. With me, I don't necessarily think there were any defending errors with their two goals. Of course, the first goal, the wind might have caught it, and it's obviously caught David De Gea. Of course, if we asked David De Gea right now, he'll be like, yeah, it's my fault because I didn't expect it to be swung in like that, and it's obviously gone over him and gone in. The second goal, I have looked back at it, and I'm no professional goalkeeper. I could barely play in goal. I'm a massive guy. I could barely run, so let alone playing in goal. But I do think the second goal is De Gea's fault because the ball has come across his 6-yard box. Now, if he weren't stuck to his line, and we all know what Dan James is going to do, he's going to get to the byline and smash it in front of goal. So in front of the along the 6-yard line. So if De Gea wasn't set on his line, of course he's not going to beat me at his near post because the angle's not there. But if De Gea's 1 yard out of his line, he can come and sort of collect it and get down on the floor and collect it. I don't know. Maybe I'm over analysing that, but again, I'm not no pro goalkeeper. I hope somebody is here or in the comments. But
I personally thought Luke Shaw was. I thought Luke Shaw was sleepwalking at the back post. He was caught napping. I actually thought he was the worst player on the pitch today, Luke Shaw. I thought he was absolutely horrendous, in my opinion. But I take your point on that second goal, but I just personally feel that Shaw was ball watching. He's got to anticipate that Rafinha is going to get to that ball across the box, and it was absolutely dreadful defending. And speaking of fullbacks, John, Wan-Bissaka, what did we make of him today? Because Neil Burton's just come in and says our Wan-Bissaka was superb today. Do you share that sentiment?
I do. I thought it was brilliant today, and I think it suited the game because obviously the conditions with the wet pitches and all that, it's kind of made for slide tackling. That I think there was that situation in the second half where he slid tackled two Leeds players within 2 seconds of each other at the right back, and I thought Wan-Bissaka played very well today. He wasn't. There have been at times previously where he was caught out of position previously, but I didn't see any of that today from him. I think he got stuck, and I think probably Rangnick picked him because we knew with the Leeds rivalry about how physical Leeds can be, and that he probably felt I need someone who's a tough tackler maybe, and I think Wan-Bissaka was almost the perfect player to play today. But he played very well. And I think in regards to the goals we conceded, I agree with you, Grant. I do think Shaw was sleepwalking at the back. I put more blame on De Gea for the first goal rather than the second one. And it's a dangerous ball to ball across because if your defender goes to clear it, then you're risking putting it in your own net, aren't you? But I think but we should have dealt with it better. But I think Maguire, he had a good game today. He needed that goal, and when we were about to say it, the corner, I actually said to my friend, it's about time we score from a corner. Why not against Leeds? Right on Maguire's head, and then it happened. So it was just like,
it was written in the stars. Fantastic.
So but I think it was perfect because it might spark a bit of form for him. And it's weird actually because the point you made about Lindelof, he's been brilliant. He was brilliant today. His run for the second goal, and also I think he did it another time in the second half as well. And I think it's interesting, the dilemma, because you're right when you say Lindelof suits playing, or Maguire suits Lindelof more than Varane. You could possibly argue that Varane suits Lindelof better than Maguire as well. So for me, whether it's Varane or Maguire, for me, both play better when Lindelof is the partner. So that's something to consider going forwards. But hopefully that goal will give Maguire a bit of confidence going forward. And it was a good performance today.
I want to touch on something that Marcus mentioned earlier on, and that's about chemistry. The very interesting chemistry with Maguire and Lindelof at central defence today. I think the chemistry in midfield today was particularly interesting for me. And Andrew, I want to come to you on Scott McTominay, because I thought McTominay today, felt like he was really up for the fight. He wanted to get a challenge in nice and early. I think it was early on. There was a Leeds player, I think, had an injury, didn't he? And people will say it was a tough tackle. I thought it was a pure accident. I thought it was a robust challenge, shall we say? But it wasn't a dangerous challenge by any manner of means. But McTominay today, I thought, showed that he has got what it takes to be a bit of a leader in this Manchester United team. Yes, he might not be the best player on the team, but that, for me, is maybe secondary in this. You need guys that are going to stand up to be counted in big games like this, derby games like this. And I thought McTominay, to a large extent, was good today. Now, he could have been sent off. People will say that. I know Phil McNulty and a few people from the BBC and other social media channels thought that McTominay should have seen a second yellow. I think that's very much up for discussion. But what's your thoughts on McTominay, Andrew?
Yeah, today I'd say he was light in the enforcer role, whereas Pogba was the one that was playing the passes and trying to get crosses in. So McTominay, I think he wanted to show the Leeds players, oh, we're here. We're not going to back down from you. Oh, okay, the one on the Leeds player, and he ended up there a head injury. But I think it was just a clash of heads. McTominay wasn't going there to be, I'm going to take you out and hurt you. He just literally clashed heads with the player. And there were a few other tackles that I say robust tackles. I mean, second half, he may have got sent off with some of them that he had put in. But that's why when Rangnick made the substitutions, and I thought, oh, he's going to bring on Fred for McTominay, and I was like a bit surprised it was Pogba. But then Pogba, I think in the second half, he was tiring a bit. So I was thinking, well, you probably should have kept Pogba on, and because Pogba can still do anything. Well, when he's on the ball, he can just create something out of nothing. But Rangnick made the perfect substitution and getting Fred on for Pogba. But for McTominay, I don't know whether he just maybe doesn't get enough credit for what he does. I mean, he completes like a high number of passes. He provides a good balance of keeping the ball and progressing the play. And I mean, his tireless work ethic, and also he'll help out defensively as well at points like the last couple of seasons. He's been a centre back as well, so he's like helped us out in that respect. And he always performs something. He always performs to an excellent standard. I just want sometimes he's got to say that consistency now, just going through every game. So I know where people say could be a future captain of United. So rather than, I know there's this talk recently about who should be captain, Maguire or Ronaldo, but let's say at the moment it's Maguire. I mean, McTominay could be a future captain, but only I just think, well, we'll have to see in the years to come how he progresses in the side. So whether he may end up being the captain. I always think the captain has to be somebody in the midfield or the defence. I just think that way. I don't know, because if you're a forward or a goalkeeper, can you have much influence on, like a goalkeeper, can you have much influence on what's happening forward? And whereas a forward, have you got much influence of what's happening at the back? So, but yeah, I'd say for McTominay, I just think his passion and hard work, I think today just shone right through. So let's say, just want to see more of it in every game going until the end of the season now.
Yeah, tireless work ethic, I think, is something that Scott McTominay has in his DNA, and I thought he was fantastic today. And yes, he probably was sailing close to the wind towards the end, and, I thought, personally, I agree with you. I thought Rangnick was going to take him off. I was surprised he lasted the 90 minutes, but that's, Rangnick sees the game better than the majority of us, and, to be fair to him, he got his substitution right, and Marcus, when Fred came on, he was outstanding, wasn't he? He took his goal very well. A lot of people said at the start, bold substitution, but Fred comes on, he gets us the third goal, and he just looked to have brought a bit more of an assurity to that midfield. Would you share that sentiment?
Yeah, I think Fred was excellent when he came on. And the thing about Fred, we've spoken obviously about McTominay, but for me, Fred, when he's on it, he can be a really good player for Manchester United. Obviously, he's not that consistent, but his distribution is great. When he has the license to get forward, he has got a goal in him, and I know that's crazy to say for Fred because he's usually putting the ball in rosette, but when he's on the edge of the box or when he's inside the box, he can score. He's got a wonderful left foot. The YouTube compilations of him at Shakhtar Donetsk, you would think it was a completely different player, and we got, Fred's clone instead of the real Fred when he came to Old Trafford based on that. But, just getting back on topic in today's game, he was excellent. And I think with Fred, him coming off the bench again is proof that players don't really need to start every single week. Sometimes being on the bench, spending time out of the team can do you a lot of good. And I think United fans get so touchy when you say, I think this player should get dropped or that player should get dropped. Sometimes, it does good. I mean, look at Marcus Rashford. He came off as a substitute twice and scored goals after having an horrendous start to the season. I think the same thing is currently happening with Fred. I'm not saying he's been anywhere near as bad as Marcus Rashford, by the way, but I'm just using that as an example. I think Fred, has benefited from having a bit of time out of the team. He's one of those players who's just, we know technical ability is lacking, but the attitude is there, and the application is there. And hopefully he can continue to contribute something to the team. I think he can be a great, player to come off the bench and a great impact player. Like, I don't want us to sell Fred. I want us to keep him as a squad player, but not quite sure if today's cameo performance justifies a start against Atletico Madrid. I wouldn't get that carried away.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I think Fred did well when he came on. And you got to say to Ranić, fair play for making such a bold substitution, because I think everybody was screaming for Fred to come on for McTominay. And when Pogba was coming off, so many people on the socials were like, what is Ralph doing? What is he thinking? And fair play to him. When he got the goal, he came forward, he had a bit of a goal. And I thought he was really assured in that midfield. And Bainesy, I'll come back to you on this, because Pogba, I thought, in the first half, really contributed quite well. But Fernandes was sensational again today, wasn't he?
Yeah, we're so blessed to have probably one of the two best midfielders that we've in the world right now in Bruno and Pogba. It's just, there's been this argument how they can't play in midfield together, but since Pogba's come back from his injury and we've had a stable number 6 in either McTominay or Fred, it's been they've been brilliant together, and that's what we've needed. We've just needed them to work and gel together. Now, when I saw don't get me wrong, when I saw the team sheet before the game, I thought, oh my God, that midfield's going to get run ragged. And I was like, that ain't going to work. Because going forward, brilliant, absolutely fantastic, no problem at all. Got 2 creative players. We've obviously got a sitter there in McTominay who can also chip in with a goal now and then. But coming back, are they disciplined enough to defend? Are they disciplined to do the hard miles? Pogba, today, unplayable for me. The things that he was doing, and it's clear that he's playing himself into this team. And who knows whether he's playing to be like that in the shop window. I don't know. But we need to, as long as we've still got him, we need to keep making sure that he's in that starting 11. He's playing week in, week out. And of course, with Bruno, we just need to make sure that them two both have the discipline when it comes to the defensive work. Going forward, no problem at all. When Ranić made the subs, I was screaming. I was going, hold on a minute. Pogba should not be coming off here. This is, no way. And I was screaming at everyone else. And I was thinking, no way, has he done this? And of course, that's why Ranić is sitting in his dugout. And that's why I am sitting over here watching it on a TV. So hold my hands up. The 2 subs that he brought on in Elanga and Fred have both gone and scored. And Fred's gone and come on and made this huge contribution. And then I'm thinking at the end of the game, then I'm thinking, you know what? We've gone and won the game. The 2 subs have also scored. Not only that, Pogba and Ronaldo have been rested. Marcus has obviously been rested. All in all, I think it's been a pretty good weekend in terms of that result. So, yeah, can't complain. That's why he's got the coaching badges and known as a great German coach, and that's why I'm sitting in the pub watching.
I think you and me both, and I'm so many others as well. John Maguire on Facebook says, great result. Games like the good old days. Now on to the next game, Champions League away. John, if you come over to YouTube and follow us as well, get your comments out. And everybody who's watching on Twitter, please come over to YouTube. If you have your comments, please get them on our YouTube. We want to read out your comments. We want you to have your say. What a terrific afternoon for Manchester United. A cracking game, winning that 4-2. John, there was a couple of things that irked me a little bit today, and there's a few people I mentioned this in the comments. Cristiano Ronaldo. What kind of happened to Ronaldo today? Did it just not happen for him? I thought he was particularly quiet. Never really looked comfortable in the game. Had a chance, I think, at 2-0, and I think Melly made a good save. But what was your feeling on him today?
Yeah, it was a very odd performance from him. Like you say, he should have, when Pogba went down the wing, he crossed it for that open goal. Albeit it was a little bit behind him, but I think you'd usually back him scoring. It's just his general play. I mean, I'm not saying it's exactly like that, but it's almost like I'm only interested in scoring kind of thing. And although what he did have an important role for the third goal. I think when Bruno played the ball into him and he laid it off, I think it was for Fred and then Sancho and then Fred. And but yeah, it just I don't know. I remember there was a time in the second half where we were 3-2 up, and then the ball went up in the air, and the keeper's about to collect, and he's only like 5 yards away from the keeper. It was in the air, and it was just like, why didn't he put pressure on the goalkeeper to? Because it's going to be, with the wet conditions, it's going to be hard for the keeper to catch the ball if he's under pressure, and he effectively let him catch it. So I don't know. It's I'm not sure. I mean, this is going to be controversial. Does Ronaldo actually suit playing in the Premier League if he's not scoring? It's. I know he took his goal well the other day, but I think aside from his goal scoring, he doesn't really offer much to the team, I don't think. So, it was, it was a strange performance from him. And you mentioned Shaw about having the worst game. Ronaldo wasn't far off him.
I agree.
Of course, Shaw got the assist for the first goal. So you could possibly argue Ronaldo was the worst player. But yeah, maybe it didn't come off for him today. I don't know. Maybe Champions League on Wednesday night, you might see a different Ronaldo because he likes playing against Atletico Madrid. But yeah, it's a strange performance from him, really. But at least also score 4 goals and him not get any of them is quite interesting, isn't it? But
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's United scored 4 goals. Ronaldo doesn't get any of them. People are thinking, what on earth is going on here? But I think it maybe shows as well that other people are stepping up and beginning to sort of try and put themselves into this team. Because as we've just alluded to, we have a massive Champions League game on Tuesday night against Atletico Madrid. Big opportunity to try and get through to the quarterfinals of that competition. We've still got a massive battle for the top 4 to think about as well. So there is still plenty of things to play for. Jarvis has said Ronaldo had an okay game. He was creating some plays, but lacked a little bit about his game today. John says that he thought Sancho was man of the match today. I kind of agree with that. I thought Sancho was really dynamic today. I thought he was very good, but I thought there was a lot of really impressive performances today from a majority of the players. There was a lot of comments on McTominay. I just want to go back to a couple of these before we move on. Jarvis says Scott McTominay was a warrior, but I will hold back on the superlatives because there's a big chance he will go missing in the next 5 games. And Ronan kind of agrees. He says he's still a squad player for McTominay where we have our ideal midfield. Sophia O'Connor has just come up with saying I would say Sancho Lindelof for man of the match. So, but yeah, that was very interesting to read that. It's been quite an interesting afternoon because, as we said, Spurs won at Man City last night. Arsenal won at home to Brentford. West Ham dropped points. Andrew, there's a real battle on for this top 4, and it's games like today that could be the difference between getting in that top 4 and qualifying for the Champions League again and not qualifying for Europe at all.
Yeah, I was going to say the top 4 now until the end of the season. I think it's going to be a real slog. I'm hoping we won't drop any more points, but knowing United, they might just. But then at the moment we're relying on other teams like Tottenham and Arsenal. They have, I think, a couple of games in hand on us. I think Wolves do as well. But I just think, a real slog for us to. And I mean, obviously we've got the Champions League this week, and then we're back to the league. But next month is going to be a key month because we've got Tottenham at home, and then before that we're away at City and then away to Liverpool after Tottenham. So we're going to have some big performances and hopefully come away with all the points from those games, because I don't want us to be relying on other teams, failing around us. We can't let the chasing pack, get any advantage on us. And I think when we are ahead in games, we've gone ahead, we can't keep, throwing away leads. We've got to be more, have that mentality of like today when we're 2-0 up, we should have, in the second half, just like Leeds had come storming out and get the third, and then just silence that crowd even more. And then Leeds have wouldn't have had nowhere to go. But United never make it easy for anybody. So I feel like they're going to just take us through every emotion going until the end of the season. But I just think we've got more than enough quality in our squad to, get that 4th place. Because I was looking yesterday when Chelsea were 0-0 and I thought, if Palace nicked a result or left it 0-0, I think we may possibly get third here, but so Chelsea nicked it at the end. And I was like, I don't know. This fourth, so I think we'll just get there in the end. Third might just be a bit of a struggle to even. I just think the top three might just be sure now, just which order that top three goes into. But yeah, I just think we've got more than enough to get over the line.
The big games really do come thick and fast, Marcus. Atletico on Wednesday night, I should say, in the first leg of the Champions League. You know, how do we approach this game now off the back of such a good result today? It's going to be a very interesting game. It's going to be a very technical game, but you know, it's a game that I think United, if they play like they can, and they did that for the majority of the game today, I think could go out and get a result. What do you think?
I'm worried about Atletico Madrid, and the reason why I'm worried is because they've been so bad. And when teams have been so bad and they come and play United, usually we draw points against those teams. I mean, Watford, I think they lost every game up until they played us, and then they beat us 4-1, and then they went on another mad losing streak. Everton, I think when they drew to us, when Martial scored the opener at Old Trafford, I think they hadn't won any games in the last 5 leading up to that game, and then suddenly they turned up against us. Villa, you know, the list goes on. So I'm worried about Atletico Madrid because they're in bad form. And I know that sounds silly to say, but I genuinely am. I'm so superstitious when it comes to United nowadays because that's what they've turned me into. We're so inconsistent. I just can't trust us. But if I'm being pragmatic and ignoring all the superstitious stuff, I think on paper you've got to say, yeah, there's no reason why we can't beat Atletico Madrid, especially if Pogba plays the way that he did, especially, you know, if Ronaldo somehow finds his shooting boots and, you know, turns on because he seems to like playing against Atletico Madrid. You know, if someone like Sancho has a man of the match performance, we've got the quality. You know, we've got the quality. I mean, I remember one of the first reactions we did when we beat Leeds at the beginning of the season, I said that I think we have a better chance of actually going deep into the Champions League and potentially winning it than we do of doing well in the Premier League. And I stand by that. You know, obviously that sounds very silly now considering where we are, but I still stand by that because on our day, we've got the quality in that team. I don't believe our players are as bad as some people have made out the season, you know. I think the issue is more of players not complementing each other rather than individual players not having the quality to actually play for a club like Manchester United. So, yeah, Ralph has got to, for me, keep more or less the same team. Maybe bring Varane back in for that extra bit of experience. But again, do you drop Lindelof? Because that's what's going to happen. We all know Maguire's not getting dropped because, you know, he is the captain of the club, whether we like it or not. And that ultimately means that Lindelof is going to be the sacrificial lamb. And it's really unfortunate because he was personally one of my contenders for man of the match today. And, you know, I hate to see him not get the opportunities just because of, you know, who's ahead of him. Even despite him playing well. And then, you know, you're looking at the fullback positions really because the rest of the team picks itself. I think, do you start Wan-Bissaka if you're Rolf Rangnick? Do you come back with Diego Dalot? Personally, I don't think Wan-Bissaka's one good performance suddenly justifies him starting when he's been bad the whole season. So for me, you still go with Dalot and keep it consistent. You still go with Alex Telles over Luke Shaw because I don't think Shaw was particularly great today. And,
no, I agree.
You know, I think people forget that Luke Shaw's been here for 8 years. So I've lost my patience with Luke Shaw. I've lost my, let's give him a chance. Let's see what happens. No. Play Alex Telles because Alex Telles didn't get a chance last season. He didn't get a chance the season before that. Let's see what happens. We know his limitations. We know what we're getting, but we also know Shaw's limitations. So for me, it's a bit of a, you know, you're going in circles with that argument. And apart from them positions there, the rest of the team picks itself, you know. Rolf has got to stick to his guns and see what happens, you know. I really do believe we can beat Atletico Madrid. But again, United are so weird that I wouldn't be surprised if Atletico Madrid turned into prime Barcelona against us, despite being poor. You know?
It's certainly going to be an intriguing game at the Metropolitano on Wednesday night. Now, the match that I'm certainly looking forward to. Beansy, are you a bit more positive about United's chances out in Madrid? Do you think we can get a result out there and take it back to Old Trafford with a positive advantage?
I'm always positive. We're going to win 6-0. No. Yeah, to be honest, what Marcus was saying is he is spot on. It always seems to be the teams that aren't on form come up against us and they play like prime Barcelona and we just allow it to happen. And it is really frustrating because it's happened for the last couple of years now and it's all, you know, it's all well and good. You look back at historically at results and Ronaldo's always, you know, he's got his famous, he had that famous hat-trick with Juve and he loves playing against Atletico Madrid and he loves the Champions League. I don't know. It's going to be we are the favourites. If we're being totally honest here, we are. We should beat them tomorrow. And now with this whole away goal rule, blah, 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 it doesn't really matter. I genuinely think that Atletico on Wednesday, are going to set up for a draw. Or maybe nick it 1-0 and do exactly the same thing at Old Trafford. They'll set up for a draw and try and nick it. If I'm being totally honest, I think if we actually play like we have played in the first half, we could blow the tie in the first half, especially if we have our shooting boots on. I mean, we scored 2 today, 2 great goals. It could have been 3 or 4, if we're being honest, in the first half, with Ronaldo missing a goal. We had a couple of chances from set pieces and whatever. So if you have that positive first half start on Wednesday, and we have our shooting boots on, the tie could be done in the first half. And how nice would that be? But we all know what's going to happen. We're going to play absolutely fantastic in the first half. We're not going to score a goal. They'll end up scoring a goal, or we'll try and get a draw. So, look, I'm always positive about United. I always am. I'm just that kind of fan. But yeah, I am. There's a bit of poo in my pants about Wednesday. I don't really like it.
Well, Jarvis Cocker is laughing with you. He thinks that your comments was absolutely fantastic, particularly the 6-0 one. A wee chuckle about that. That would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? But it is never a dull moment following Manchester United this season, isn't it, John? And this game on Wednesday night, the Champions League is an opportunity for Manchester United, a real chance to get to the quarterfinals. But as we have alluded to, Atletico under Diego Simeone, not having the greatest of seasons, but still a dangerous threat.
I'll go on better than Bainesy and say 7-0, but I'm joking. Yeah, exactly. It is an interesting tie because obviously both teams will be relatively disappointed with their respective season. I think both teams are 4th in their respective leagues as well. So, I know Atletico haven't been as defensively sound this season, and obviously we've had our problems at the back at times. But I do think that we're going. It's going to be a tight game. I think. I said at the time of the draw, I think it could be decided by 1 goal in both games or over across the tie. I don't think there'll be many goals in the games, but I think if you can get a positive result in Atletico, where hopefully with the crowd at Old Trafford in the second leg we can get a result. I think the most important thing is not to lose, and I think if, like I say, we should go to win, and Baines is right, we can get at them defensively. They'll sit back most likely, and if we can maybe score 2 or 3, which a few teams, I think Chelsea won there a couple of years ago, 2-1. Liverpool went there and won early in the season, so it is possible to beat them there. But knockout football, 2-legged football is completely different from the Premier League. But yeah, I do think we do have a chance against Atletico. But like I say, I think both legs will be won narrowly or even drawn. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, of course, Liverpool won that game 3-2 in the group stage, didn't they? It was a quite extraordinary game, so it's certainly going to be interesting how that unfolds. Last question to everybody before we wrap this up. I want to just wrap up on the game today. Just go around everybody. Pick your man of the match and explain why off the back of today's game. Andrew, I'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Jadon Sancho because, the stats like shown on Sky, it was like ranking first in everything. And like with the second goal, yes, Lindelof was key, but also Sancho was as well. I mean, that it's just a delicate cross into the box, and then it was just the perfect timing for Fernandes just to come in and just score for the second. And then even in the second half, when for the third goal, he collected the ball in the penalty area, Sancho, and then stood the defender up, and he could have easily tried to smash the ball towards goal himself, but he just released it in perfect time, and then for Fred just to come along and smash the ball home. But for Sancho, I mean, he's endured a tough start to his United career, but I know with the 2 assists and then the goal he scored against Southampton, he seems to be finding that consistent quality now. So may his form continue for a long time to come.
Yeah, I thought Sancho was really good today again, and he just seems to be thriving now. At times, he really does look like he could be unplayable. I thought he was really good today. Marcus, who's your contender for man of the match today?
Yeah, I might get a lot of hate for this one, but I'm going to go with Victor Lindelof. I have to, because I love Victor Lindelof, man, and I think he gets so much unfair criticism, so a bit of a different answer, we'll see what everybody else has to say. But yeah, Sancho was fantastic, don't get me wrong, he was fantastic, and I'm a huge fan of Jadon Sancho, but for me, I feel like Lindelof deserves a little bit more recognition in the fan base, man. I've seen him get so much stick. We all know his limitations as a footballer, but for me, that's exactly why I think he's so good. The fact that he's such a limited footballer in terms of talent, but he's able to make it work. That just shows, what's going on in his head. He's a very smart and intelligent defender. And he very rarely, I can't think of a mistake that Lindelof has made that's directly led to a goal, apart from, I think, the final in the Europa League. I think he was partially to blame for that when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was still here. But apart from that, I can't really think of, and this is not me being biased, like genuinely speaking, I can't think of many errors that I can say, you know what, that was Victor Lindelof's fault. And that's amazing because he's not particularly great in the air. He's not particularly quick. He's not particularly physical. He's not particularly agile. He has all these limitations, but somehow he manages to make it work. And I think people just don't give him the credit for it. And, so just for that reason alone, I'm going to give him the man of the match.
Well, Sophia agrees with you. She says Lindelof has been so good every time he's played this season. He should be in ahead of Maguire, in my opinion. Jarvis says, no hate for you either. Lindelof was great today. Love how he drove the ball upfield. So you've got a couple of supporters in your camp on that one. Gradesy, my good man, after having a pint or two during the game, who was your, objectively speaking, your own man of the match?
A great point, by the way, Marcus. Yeah, so add me to that list. Yeah, he's definitely a good shout on Lindelof. For me, Sancho's been said, Lindelof's been said, so I'll go with someone different. I'll go McTominay. Okay, he could have got sent off, but I think that's the kind of game Leeds is. He's very tenacity. He's just got everything, isn't he? He's physical. He's powerful. He can shoot. Whether or not he can pass, sometimes I don't know what kind of McTominay you get. But today, if we're just looking at today's result, absolutely brilliant. He was fantastic. He won the ball. He broke up a lot of the play. He just gave it off to Pogba and Bruno and going, go on, you two do what you need to do. Go score the goals or create them. I think McTominay there sitting in that role, and hopefully now he can kick on from this performance because he had something similar at Burnley, so he can just kick on and get better and better and feed into that role. So McTominay for me. Definitely.
Yeah, I thought McTominay just showed that leadership and determination and that work ethic that I thought was really good as well. And yes, he maybe got a little bit of a slice of luck. Maybe he could have been sent off on another day, different referee, different conditions. And by the way, we haven't even talked about the conditions today because, my goodness, that was pretty wet. I mean, I think it was Conor McNamara on Radio 5 Live that called the weather conditions biblical. Yeah. And I thought that was quite a good line. So definitely a bit of a shout out to Conor for that one. John, last word to you. Who was your man of the match?
I'm going to go for a different one, actually. And it's quite pleasing that there are quite a few contenders for man of the match today. So it shows how good the performance was. But I'm actually going to go for Bruno because I think he obviously got the goal in the second goal in the first. But I also felt that when it was 2-2 after he made those changes, he was the one looking to make something happen. And I think
I agree.
The third goal, well, he didn't get an assist, but I think he was crucial in the role. He held up the ball, then he passed it to Ronaldo, and it led to Fred's scoring. And of course, again, in the wet conditions, to try that flick or whatever he did for the fourth goal. I mean, maybe the defender could have done better, but how he managed to do it, I don't know. But and he laid it off for Elanga, obviously. So yeah, Bruno got the goal and assist today, but like you say, Lindelof, Sancho, McTominay, they're all brilliant today. So I think well played to the whole team, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, before I asked the question, I had Sancho as my own man of the match. I thought Fernandes was excellent as well. It was between those two for me. Lindelof was very impressive, but I think everybody had a really good case there. I mentioned McTominay earlier on. I thought it was just a really good team performance, and as we said it right at the top of the show, great character from the guys to get the job done after being pegged back to 2-2. It was just a fantastic performance. Well, that brings us very much to the end of another reaction show here on All for United. We have so much coming up over the next week. Well, we've got Devil's Advocate tonight at 8:30, so do get involved with that. There's plenty talking about that. And on Monday, you can join myself as I chat with Alvaro Romeo, Spanish football expert, as we preview that Atletico Madrid match against Manchester United. So do check that out on Off United. Thanks to everybody for their comments on the various socials. Do check us out. Please like and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other social media platforms. It's been a fantastic day for Manchester United, a massive 3 points at Ellen Road. Thanks to everybody on the panel, and thanks to everybody who's contributed to the show. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and take very good care. All the best.